Hello, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, and cross watchers. This is your tarot and oracle reading for the week ahead whenever you're finding it. If you're watching along as I post because you're subscribed, this will be for the week of August 19th through the 25th, 2024. First card out for you is the Spiral in Reverse. What old stories do you find yourself repeating, Sagittarius, over and over and over again that you're just getting so sick of that you are ripping away that entire plane of reality from your life? Like you are literally sinking your fingers underneath that web of existence that you don't like in the tapestry of your life, and you are pulling it up and you are crumpling it up and throwing it into a black hole abyss where it can be cleansed, purified, and returned back to you in pure form, pure energy for you to do what you really want to do and manifest what you really want to manifest. That was a really weird image that we just got. Let's see. We have the Queen of Arrows coming out upright. Yeah. You know what? I feel like you're throwing away old paradigms, old stories. You know, it's funny. Let me tell you a story. Sometimes we repeat the same process over and over and over again. I'm telling you this story because it reminds me of your reading so much, but I dated 3 guys in a row that were very weirdly similar. So the first one, he was from a certain country, and we were in a relationship for several years. And it was a very unhappy relationship. I just didn't realize it while I was in it. And we ended up breaking up. And it was strange. Like, this person had very particular personality traits and characteristics. Then fast forward several months after we broke up, I start dating someone else. Literally the first date, find out they're from that same country. They have an insane amount of similarities to that ex of mine, and they are demonstrating some of the same problematic behaviors that I saw in that old relationship. And me being the person that I am, I'm like, there's probably a sign in this somewhere. Like, this is the universe speaking very loudly to me, clearly. I just wasn't ready to listen to it. So I dated him for a few months, and yeah, that ended even more horribly in a sense. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to date. So I didn't date for many, many, many months after that. And finally, you know, my heartstrings are purring again. I'm ready to put myself out there. I go on a date with another guy, same country, same sort of personality traits that I'm seeing over text. Like, we haven't even met in person yet. And I'm really thinking to myself, I'm so tired of playing out the same story over and over and over again. And it was kind of funny to me how he had the same exact red flags that the other people had. And it's not to say that that particular country is to blame. It was just the people. Like, it was like the universe laughing and joking with me by sending me the same person over and over and over again and saying, are you going to keep making the same choices this time? Or are you going to, do you want to keep playing this out? Because like energy attracts like energy. So it's not until you fully reject that from your life that it stops repeating for you. And with this guy, I'm like, oh yeah, I was already iffy. And then we planned a first date or whatever. And then the first date rolls around and he is basically like, oh, I'm caught up, helping a friend out. That was the repeating thing with all these relationships. They always would prioritize their friends over the women in their life. So, I have to, help my friends out. I'm going to be like 2 hours late. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So we're definitely meeting up at this time then. Yes. Okay, I'm literally walking out my door, walking to this date. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to be another hour. And I said, you know what? I'm over this. We're not going on a date. We're just not going to meet up. We're not going to meet up. You should have valued my time. You really lost out on an amazing person who makes an amazing partner. So that's my venting. But the reason I'm telling you this story is because I feel a weirdly similar energy for you somewhere in your life. It doesn't have to be in dating, but it's like you've already repeated a story before. And it's like ironically coming back to you again in a new form. And you're like, the universe is saying, do you want to keep repeating this story? Because we'll keep sending you this type of energy. But once you reject the same old narrative, then you will be ready for something else, something better to evolve. So the Queen of Arrows here really represents setting those boundaries with yourself and saying, you know what, I'm not meeting up. You know what, I'm not playing this game out again. I am not repeating the same old story again, which is amazing. Then we have the 8 of Arrows in reverse with struggle. Struggle is a part of life, and we see here somebody trying to get somewhere, and it's really windy out and cold, and there's arrows flying at her. She's just trying to stay alive. It represents the struggle of life, which we all go through. So this is in reverse, and this is asking you to ask yourself, where do you tend to repeat the same mistakes, the same struggles that you've been repeating in your life? You know, where are you overthinking yourself to death, staying too much in your head, and making things a lot harder than they need to be? We have the 3 of Stones, creativity. Yeah, life is so much more peaceful when it's simple, when we just don't allow people or energies into our lives that make us question ourselves or that frustrate us to no ends. Man, it's so hard for some people. And I feel like I'm talking to my past self for some reason. I'm not even a Sagittarius. I feel like I'm talking to my past self here. With you guys, though, some people just really struggle to recognize when they don't like someone or they don't like something, or when something or someone does not make them happy. Especially if you're somebody who is trained to put everyone ahead of yourself for most of your life and constantly focus on other people's problems instead of your own. It could be really hard for you to admit when it's time to let go of something because you just don't like it. You know, if you view something as a chore every time you have to go there or do something, maybe it's not for you. For example, like, let's just say you want to be healthy, you want to be fit, and imagining going to the gym and running on a treadmill, it just takes so much energy even before you go because you're trying to find the will to go there. Maybe that's not your exercise. But on the other hand, maybe the idea of kayaking or running like on a track does fill you with a lot of inspiration and fire energy. Then do that, you know? Then instead of paying like $20 a month for a gym membership, just take that money and buy a kayak. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be the same either way, you know? It's like, do the thing that takes less energy, takes less consumption. If you have a friend or an associate where it's like, you're doing all of the conversational like work, you are the one trying to hold this thing together, make the plan happen, force it to happen, you don't realize how much energy you're draining. It's time to release, it's time to let go, because when you do that and you don't, you know, really keep these time wasters in your life, it sets your creativity free. It sets your soul on fire. And I see that here, like you being appreciated for your beauty a lot more this week because you're respecting your own time more. You're respecting your own energy more. And people will respect you more as a result. I read something earlier. It was this person who was complaining because their friend asked them to do some videography for them for like $110, which is very underpriced for this person's professional videography work. And then he gets another client who offers to pay him like $1,200 for some video help on a big project. And he's like, oh, okay, like what's the video project? Who's hiring you for this? And it was his friend. His friend was paying this other person like $7,000+ to do a huge video project instead of asking the friend who did him a favor and was like, yeah, I'll do it for $110. So once that friend who was hiring had the money, instead of going to the person who did them the favor, they went to someone else entirely, which is crazy. But you know what? That's what happens when you undersell yourself and you say, yeah, I will give you this thing that takes a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, for basically free, for basically nothing. You're basically communicating to that person, I don't respect my own time. I don't respect my own energy. Like, you have to put a price point on some of these things. If it's business related, like you have to, you know, sell your services, your time for what it's worth. So some of you may be having some thoughts about that. Like, am I getting paid accordingly for my services? And others of you, it could be a situation where it's like, do I actually even enjoy spending time with certain people in my life or doing certain things in my life? Is it worth my time? We have the Queen of Vessels in reverse right underneath that Queen of Arrows, which actually does suggest that you and someone else, like, you just might not feel like you're clicking with them or that it's going to work out. So you could be taking your heart back. Wow, and the Queen of Stones, 3 queens coming out, 2 upright, 1 in reverse here. See, that's the thing, like, you have a lot of people in your life who do appreciate you, who you enjoy spending time with. You have a lot of hobbies and things that you're working on that you really enjoy. You like it. So it's like, it's not going to kill you to release and let go of the stories, the people, the anything that just feels like it's too draining on you. Because the thing is, when you sacrifice those things, when you sacrifice those people, you actually allow for things that are much more in alignment for you to come forward. For example, if you run your own business and there's a certain product or service that you hate offering, but it does get in a decent amount of sales, try getting rid of that. And in the time you save by not doing that thing, you never know. Like, you might come up with a creative idea for a new product or a new service that you enjoy a lot more and gets equal or even more sales. You know what I mean? So just experiment with life a little bit more. We have the pole star coming out in reverse, yes, but here's the thing. If you're going to be willing to release, you need to trust that you'll be able to manifest that which you desire and that you're going to be okay. That's what the star in reverse is all about. Like, you might not be at a place where you trust your own intuition right now. Your intuition may be saying like, hey, maybe it's time to give up this part of the business. Maybe it's time to release this certain thing from our lives that we don't like doing. But you're like, oh yeah, but this has been keeping me afloat right now. If I let it go, like, what's going to happen? And then you're not letting it go. But it's like, if you let go, you might come up with an even better idea, do an even better thing, meet someone even better that is so much more aligned with you and also fills you with energy, excites you, inspires you, instead of feeling like it's draining, even just thinking about having to do it or spend time with a certain person. Does that make sense? Like, surround yourself with things and people that excite you, because life is too short to surround yourself with people that drain you or things that you get tired even just thinking about. Okay, thank you so much for joining me this week, Sagittarius. Definitely check out your sun, moon, and rising signs and Venus signs to get the fullest overview of your week ahead, because there's certainly more to it than this. Like this video, comment how it resonated down below, and subscribe if you have not already. If you want a personal reading with me one-on-one, the link to that is always in the description box, spiritpsychic.org. I also offer my intention oils there and spiritual life coaching sessions there, so check it out. Bye-bye.